Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Catherine Cook in for David. We begin tonight with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit filed by a former Cirque du Soleil performer. The acrobat fell while performing in Portland 2 years ago. Alma McCarty has details from the newly filed court documents. Alma.
Catherine, the show KGW came to town in August 2024. It featured dozens of artists, many of whom balanced high up on a tower of chairs or a tightrope 25 feet above the ground. At the time of her fall, this aerial hoop artist was 15 feet above the stage, but with no net or mat below her. A warning: one of the photos in this story may be considered graphic to some viewers.
Before joining Cirque du Soleil, Maria Konfektova had 8 years of experience as an aerial hoop artist. Part of the KGW production, she brought those talents to Portland. But on August 24th, 2024, while elevated 15 feet above a circular stage, her foot slipped and she lost her grip, plunging to the ground. According to court documents, there was no safety mat, safety net, or other form of fall protection to brace her fall. Pictures provided by her attorney showing her hospital stay and the severity of her injuries: a fractured skull, wrist, lower back, and facial bones, 11 in all. OSHA, finding a lack of proper safety systems during their investigation, fined the traveling circus company $8,000 several months after the incident. According to the lawsuit, Cirque du Soleil told OSHA that 20 feet was the height limit at which they start requiring fall safety protections. Konfektova's aerial hoop act was set at 15 feet. Her lawsuit, filed this week in Multnomah County, alleges her former employer was negligent for not providing fall protection. She's seeking more than $16 million. KGW reached out to the company for comment. A spokesperson said they are aware of the reports, but do not comment on legal matters.
The lawsuit also details how the performer voiced other concerns about the quality of the rope and the weight of the hoop. Around the time of the fall, documents show how she felt pressure to perform regardless. Catherine.
Alma McCarty, thank you so much. We're keeping a close eye on what's left of the Centennial Mills building tonight after that explosive demolition on Monday that took out the century-old water tower. And just hours ago, the part of Nadeau Parkway closed for the demolition reopened, but not before a major incident this morning. Police say around 4 a.m., Timothy Worland drove through the barrier, struck one security guard, and barely missed another. The injured guard was not seriously hurt. Police used a pit maneuver, basically ramming into his car to get it to spin and stop. The city has not shared an update on when nearby Fields Park will reopen or when the rest of the building will come down. We'll keep you posted. To a live look over the Rose City tonight after a beautiful day and a beautiful work week. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino now with the first look at your weekend forecast. Matt.
Hey, Catherine, it's going to be a good weekend. And it was interesting today. It was cloudy, but look, you could watch the clouds. Even though they're moving from south to north, the whole cloud mass is also pushing to the east. And we had some, in spite of the gnats that are flying around there, we had some good clearing that happened right around and just before sunset. So that was kind of fun to see that. Now, still looking at returns on Doppler radar over the Cascades and east of the Cascades. But we've had no lightning strikes and really no rain reaching the ground that I can find anyway. So this is all falling into a very dry air mass. So it takes a while before the lower air mass becomes humid enough for those raindrops to survive and get down to the ground. Now there's still a chance we get a thunderstorm over the mountains late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and I'll show you why in a minute. This is the forecast, the thunderstorm forecast through Saturday morning. It's now pushed a little bit farther east and north, and that actually extends through Saturday afternoon. Portland right now is sitting at 68 degrees. It's a mainly clear sky, and it's going to be that way too. Look, we're running 8, 9, 10 degrees cooler now compared to this time last night because of the cloud cover that we had and an influx of cooler air coming in from the coast. So scattered thunderstorms still possible, not super likely, but possible in the Cascades. Could be a morning sprinkle as well in the valleys. Then it clears out. Great weather on the way for the weekend. It warms up a bit on Monday. We'll show you that in a bit. And the latest on Tropical Storm Moke.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Matt. An update now on a murder for hire plot out of Clark County. Today, the victim's husband and his accomplice were sentenced. John Adams was in court and has reaction from loved ones.
In a Clark County courtroom on Friday morning, You were supposed to be her protector. You were supposed to keep her safe.
James Rummel listened to statements from loved ones of his wife, Lindy.
You could have stopped the plan so many different times. You could have walked away. You could have filed bankruptcy. Anything besides hiring your old prison buddy to murder your wife.
A jury found Rummel guilty of first-degree murder for hiring Daryl Riley to kill Lindy in March 2024, while staging it as a burglary gone wrong. But just days after Lindy's death, a friend of Riley's called law enforcement to tell them that Riley admitted to the plot, saying he shot the victim multiple times. Riley would eventually take a plea agreement and testify against Rummel in court, while also claiming he was on methamphetamine at the time. A judge sentenced Riley to 20 years behind bars.
I could say that alcohol and drugs had an effect on this, but there's no excuse. And I wish I could treat her places. I truly do.
Rummel had previously told investigators that he and his wife were having financial troubles at the time. Lindy's loved ones questioning why he decided to take her life instead of asking for help.
You could have protected the woman that you promised to love, and instead you chose a path that ended her life and devastated ours.
Rummel also briefly speaking before hearing his sentence.
I've been found guilty through circumstances and lies. Am I upset? You bet I am. Do I care? Absolutely. I care for your feelings, although you hate me.
After his statement, the judge sentenced Rummel to life in prison without the possibility of release, plus an additional 20 years.
John Adams reporting. James Rummel had previously told detectives that he and Riley had met each other in prison years before Lindy's murder. To get you caught up now on tonight's other headlines, Longview police arrested a 46-year-old man after they say he exposed and touched himself outside a daycare. It happened just before 9 a.m. Wednesday near 14th and Florida Street. Police say when they arrived, Bradley Barnes was looking toward the daycare and making lewd movements on the ground. No indication of any children saw what happened. Barnes was booked into the Cowlitz County Jail for indecent exposure. And nearly 14,000 birds have died in a deadly botulism outbreak near the Oregon-California border. It started in early July, then got worse when high temperatures lowered water levels, exposing mudflats and creating conditions that fuel botulism. The toxin slowly paralyzes birds. Water has started flowing back into the Tule Lake Wildlife Refuge, which has cut the number of sick and dead birds by about half. But biologists warn without more water, this outbreak could be worse than 2024, when about 140,000 birds died. To the Oregon coast now, where police cited 2 paragliders for harassing wildlife on Haystack Rock. Cannon Beach police say they learned about the 2 pilots flying around the rock on August 7th and reported them to U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Haystack Rock is a nesting site for many federally protected birds. Harassing the wildlife, which includes disturbing them in any way, is prohibited. Paid parking in Vancouver, specifically in Uptown, may be changing. The city is considering charging for parking on weekends in Uptown Vancouver, like they already do in downtown. You'd see the new paid parking in some spots north of Evergreen Boulevard to 15th Street and all the way to 4th Plain in others. Vancouver's parking district manager tells us paid weekend parking allows more access to the curb, especially in high demand areas, and prevents further congestion.
Waterfront folks were parking on Friday night, when they would return from work or something like that, and they would stay there all weekend. And that is a very busy area, right? And so creating that additional turnover has led to positive success and better outcomes. Owners and employees are able to find available parking more regularly.
As you can imagine, some businesses in the area aren't thrilled. They say the new plan could drive down business during their busiest time of the week. Parking officials say they plan to go to council with their recommendations early next year. In Washington County, the hits just keep coming for the city of North Plains. Today, we learned the city council president has resigned after less than 2 years on the job. For what it's worth, Mandy Hagedorn was in office longer than the last city manager. He was there for just 1 week. This comes after the North Plains mayor, his predecessor, and 3 other city councilors jumped ship. Council is taking applications for mayor for another couple of weeks. They'll start process of replacing City Council President on September 8th.